In the end, which came Friday in the Williamson County Justice Center, in which he used to judge others, former DA Ken Anderson will serve just 10 days in jail for his part in the grotesque miscarriage of justice that put Michael Morton in prison for 25 years for a crime he did not commit, the slaying of his wife. Anderson also is losing his law license and has stepped down as a state judge. Serious though those actions are, I left the courtroom Friday feeling unsatisfied about it. But Morton wasn't, and that should be good enough for the rest of us.
This is a resolution of all that's taken place, and it's a good day. When it began, when I was asked what I wanted, I said the only thing that I want as a baseline is for Ken Anderson to be off the bench and for him to no longer practice law. And both of those things have happened and more. The severity or the lack thereof has been done by the legal profession. They set the standards, they meted out punishment, and that's their call. My number one motivating factor here is that what happened to me will not happen to you. And by what happened today, we've succeeded. This is as much accountability as our system, I think, is able to give us at this time. And because my bottom line or my minimum requirements have been met, or at least realized, I can't complain.
For the first time ever, a prosecutor will go to jail for wrongfully convicting an innocent man. Today in Texas, former prosecutor and Judge Ken Anderson pled guilty to intentionally failing to disclose evidence in a case that sent an innocent man, Michael Morton, to prison for the murder of his wife. When trying the case as a prosecutor, Anderson possessed evidence that may have cleared Morton, including statements from the crime's only eyewitness that Morton wasn't the culprit. Anderson sat on this evidence, and then watched Morton get convicted. While Morton remained in prison for the next 25 years, Anderson's career flourished, and he eventually became a judge. In today's deal, Anderson pled to criminal contempt, and will have to give up his law license, perform 500 hours of community service, and spend 10 days in jail. Anderson had already resigned in September from his position on the Texas bench. What makes today's plea newsworthy is not that Anderson engaged in misconduct that sent an innocent man to prison. Indeed, while most prosecutors and police officers are ethical and take their constitutional obligations seriously, government misconduct including disclosure breaches known as Brady violations occurs so frequently that it has become one of the chief causes of wrongful conviction. What's newsworthy and novel about today's plea is that a prosecutor was actually punished in a meaningful way for his transgressions. I give speeches about the innocence movement, and tell stories from real cases, all around the world. No matter where I am, when I finish speaking the first question usually is, what happened to the police/prosecutors who did this to the poor guy? The answer is almost always, nothing, or worse. The police officer was promoted and now is the chief of his department. The adage that the powerful go unpunished is no truer or more visible than with police officers and prosecutors in America, even when they send innocent people to prison from their misconduct. My client Roger Dean Gillespie of Dayton, Ohio, for example, spent 20 years in prison as a result of police misconduct. In 2007, we presented overwhelming evidence that the police officers, like Anderson in the Morton case, failed to turn over evidence to the defense before trial that would have cleared Gillespie. We also supplied the court with evidence that the police officer in charge had harassed and intimidated witnesses helpful to the defense, and had manipulated the evidence. Before going to court to clear Gillespie, we met with the local prosecutors, hopeful that they wouldn't tolerate such misconduct and would do a thorough, and neutral, investigation to get to the truth. Instead, they simply denied everything in knee-jerk fashion, and fought to keep Gillespie in prison until a federal court finally found government misconduct and threw out his charges in December 2011. To this day, the police officer in the case has not been investigated by a neutral, independent body. The only thing he has received is promotions. Rogue cops and prosecutors going unpunished is the rule rather than the exception. In Illinois, 2 police officers whose improperly grueling interrogation techniques led to the wrongful conviction of Juan Rivera and others were not penalized when their third-degree tactics came to light. Rather, they were recently hired at taxpayer expense to teach interrogation courses to other police officers around the state. A recent study found prosecutorial misconduct in nearly 1/4 of all capital cases in Arizona. Only 2 of those prosecutors have been reprimanded or punished. This led the Arizona Republic to conclude, there seldom are consequences for prosecutors, regardless of whether the miscarriage of justice occurred because of ineptness or misconduct. In fact, they are often congratulated. Other studies/articles with similar troubling results can be found here, and here. Fortunately, there is something very simple that judges across the country can do to eradicate this problem. All judges, state and federal, should issue the Standing Ethical Rule Order proposed by the Honorable Nancy Gertner and Innocence Project co-founder Barry Scheck. The proposed order requires prosecutors to disclose, pre-trial, all evidence that tends to negate the guilt of the accused or mitigates the offense. Details regarding the proposed ethical rule order, including all the justifications supporting it, can be found in this article by Barry Scheck. The reason such standing ethical rule orders are important is that they allow prosecutors, like Ken Anderson, to be held in criminal contempt if they are later found to have engaged in misconduct. Anderson could be punished today only because such an order had been issued in the Morton case. Today's conviction of Ken Anderson stands out as an extreme aberration in a society where police and prosecutorial misconduct goes largely unpunished. But it is a step in the right direction. Hopefully, today's result will deter rogue cops and prosecutors in the future from engaging in similar misconduct. But this will happen only if judges across the country do what the judge did more than 25 years ago in the Morton case, issue an order requiring that proper disclosure to the defense, or risk criminal contempt proceedings.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago, and so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheep up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Charlotte County Cop Watch with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me and I'm sick of it, so I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave let's say actually yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where, at least I can do it, 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt-free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, and that was every month. Oh my God! Yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is, you know, if I got, you know, some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here, and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. You know, 47,000 of you so far right now. You know, $1 a day. I mean, $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head. Help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.